Hello and cheers. Welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Lauren and today I'm going to be reacting to Crusader Kings 2.0 review by Seth Dinich. I have no idea if I pronounce his username correctly. I think he just calls himself Seth most of the time in the videos, so that's what I'll do from now on. I have heard of Crusader Kings. I had a friend of mine who was playing Crusader Kings, and I've seen a video where someone tried to make the worst person they could in it and just give him all of the diseases. I don't remember who that was, but it was funny video. But yeah, so I actually have heard of this one. I usually haven't heard of the videos of the games that Seth reviews, which is why it's always kind of interesting because I'm like, oh, it's a whole new world that I had never even considered before. But I like to do ones every so often where I've heard of it. So let's just go see how his review goes. I imagine it will be irreverent and at times confusing, but very funny. So I'm excited for it. Let's play our drinking game wherein whenever I say something stupid, we'll take a drink. So I feel like we're probably 2 in already. And let's, every time his little avatar face guy shows up, either the photo he uses or when it's just the animated one, take a drink then, and let's just go with that for now. I've got with me today my lovely Moscow Mule. It's actually not a Moscow Mule. It is a Kentucky Mule because I used Kentucky bourbon instead of vodka. You can do that with mules. Just put whatever alcohol you want to in there, really, as long as you got the little bit of ginger beer, lime, some kind of bitters, and then it's a mule. It's fine. All right, so let us go. So we're going to start with the drink because he's here. So let us begin.
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a game which really tests the limits of my ADD medication. A game where you can grow an empire, watch it prosper, only to stub your toe, die from an infection, and watch your empire dissolve because you have no idea how inheritance works. Catch cancer, beat cancer by praying it away. Thanks God. Spend money, invest into your own people. Lose your money, go heavily into debt. Borrow money from the Jews. Consider paying them back. Keep it instead by expelling the Jews from your country. Don't feel bad about it. We've been expelled so often, you really won't hurt our feelings if you do it again. Marry your sister. Divorce your sister because she's too old. Marry her daughter instead. Turn your family tree into a family circle and watch your dynasty burn to the ground as your children collect every chromosome known to man. Of course, I'm talking about the most prolific, complex, and intricate medieval incest simulator on the market today, Crusader Kings 2. Crusader Kings 2 is a game covering nearly 700 years of human history, during which time we treated each other very, very well. Religious
Super well. Like the best we've ever treated each other, you guys. This does kind of remind me a little bit of Civilizations, except for more like with the Sims sort of vibe though. Yeah, like right? Am I nuts?
tolerance was at an all-time high. Human life was short and painful, and the man amputating your leg could probably also trim your beard. In other words, the good old days. But with modern technology, those good old days can be experienced all over again from the perspective of a single person you pick from the world map, who is then forced to live through your terrible decisions. CK2 falls under the definition of grand strategy, which might lead you to believe it's a strategy game. In truth, grand strategy is neither grand nor strategic. You just paint a map with color crayons and then upload your meme image of a Holy Roman Empire onto Reddit for those sick upvotes. Grand strategy is to strategy what Doom is to the field of literature. Doom is not a very good book. In fact, it's not a book at all.
So basically, because Doom was one of those games that you can port onto anything, right? Like people have like played it on a TI-84. So like grand strategy game sounds like it is whatever you want it to be is what I'm taking away from that. It's also like just an unholy version of The Sims. At least I would play it in that way, I think. I am the person who, when it was still allowed in The Sims, I would put people in the pool and take away the ladders, you know? Or if my two of them weren't getting along and I wanted them to, I would just put them in a room together, take away the door, and give them a fridge and a bathroom, and then make them work it out. And they never did.
Don't feel intimidated. This game is actually just a very simple Excel spreadsheet with a lot of poor UI scaling. But that's not the point of it. The point is the characters, which behave as uncontrollable agents of chaos that
Nice.
act and react to everything you do, often in the most unpredictable, illogical, and insane way possible. In other words, they act exactly like humans, but
So it is kind of like The Sims. You know, I wonder if these people can actually, like, go around a chair, though.
what is your objective in Crusader Kings 2? Well, the same objective as every human being. As Oscar Wilde once said, everything in the world is about sex. Except sex. Sex is about power. Power is what you're ultimately trying to gain. And in the medieval world, there are only two ways of reaching that power. War and marriage. Essentially, you're sleeping your way to the top. And
You
in
can
the
be an
process,
orc?
you pray you don't get poisoned, cucked, or inbred before your genes can pass on to the next generation.
You can be non-human in this game? I did not know that.
If you fail to preserve your bloodline, your dynasty ends and the game is over. You can't just pass on your genes, you gotta look after them too. Unless, of course, your seduction skills are so high that every woman in a 100-kilometer radius is already knocked up with your kids. Children aren't exactly the best at staying alive. Your child could be killed during a mass archery incident by some madman armed with an automatic crossbow, or simply smothered by his own pillow, by his own mother, holding the pillow. So, much like stocks and investment, I recommend diversifying your assets. Luckily, the same applies to your potential rivals. One of my favorite things in this game is performing late-term abortions. Now, infanticide is
Drink.
not something I support. It's something I recommend. Remember, if you can't kill your enemies today, you can still destroy them tomorrow. Whether or not your dynasty can survive entropy and uncertainty will depend on how tactfully you can balance the needs and wants of your realm, which is completely impossible. Your vassals always want more land, your wife always wants more jewelry, and your brother always wants more of your wife. Try to satisfy everyone, and you'll end up satisfying no one, which is why the secret to a long reign is disposing of everyone who doesn't like you. After that, you're safe, secure, and absolutely at the mercy of this game's RNG system. Aside from conscious
It's also kind of Oregon Trail-esque. Like, it looks like on some of those things that, like, can just randomly kill you. It looks like at the age of 43, your acquaintance, Enogal de Concy, was beheaded at the order of King Philippe. Uh-oh.
of everyone who doesn't
All right, so you're killing
like
everybody.
you. After that, you're safe, secure, and absolutely
You haven't had any severe crime. Whatever cause that must have been dealt with. Yeah, so it's like the Oregon Trail. Just random death and, problems.
at the mercy of this game's RNG system. Aside from conscious actions, schemes, and intrigue, this game is actually played by hitting the spacebar and letting time flow by. What does time hold in store for you? Surprises. A lot of surprises. And you're gonna hate every single one of them. 99% of the gameplay is based on random events. Some are good, some are bad, and you're completely powerless to stop them.
Okay, so he keeps, like, showing off stuff like the Lich King is there magic in this game, or is it literally those just imported from something else? Like, one of those things looked like something from Warhammer, like the Black Gates or whatever.
99% of the gameplay is based
Like that, doesn't it? Am I crazy? I don't know. But
on random.
either way, it does seem like, I don't know if there's any actual monsters in this game or if this is just a joke. And I can't tell. I cannot tell.
Events. Some are good, some are bad, and you're completely powerless to stop them. Having a great time? Not anymore. You've got the plague, you've got syphilis, you've got lover's pox from sleeping with your maid. What do? Well, the only thing you can do, put your trust and faith in your doctor and hope for the best. Also, execute your maid for giving you an STI. The doctor manages to cure your plague. A miracle. But the syphilis? That's gonna be a gift that keeps on giving. Thank your your doctor, then execute him for incompetence. Order a new doctor. He's insane, paranoid, and probably a spy from Imperial China. But you know what? He might just be the guy for the job. It turns out he wasn't the guy for the job, and 2 of your direct heirs are now dead. They found rice grains in their chamber, but no conclusive evidence. Oh well. Anyway, your spy master informs you that your doctor is trying to murder you. You confront him and make him feel very guilty about it. He agrees to stop trying to murder you. More of your children end up dead. Also, while you were battling a lifelong struggle with STIs, your wife was having an affair with your other wife. You've got 2 actually. God bless being a Muslim. Luckily, lesbianism is no risk to your dynasty. Yes, in Crusader Kings 2, having a homosexual wife is probably the best decision you could possibly make, but it doesn't save you, because your doctor just saved you from a life of sexually transmitted disease by killing you with a lethal dose of Chinese herbal remedies. So try hard as you might, all your efforts will eventually come to ruin. You'll get cucked and then you die. Quit the game and start again. Ultimately, you're playing Crusader Kings 2 for the journey, not the outcome, and the stories you create in the process are
How many
unique.
people can you kill all at once is the story I think it seems like you're trying to tell.
To your experience, no game will go quite the same, which is why there's no reason for me to explain mechanics. Instead, let me share some stories. Once, I played as Charlemagne, king of the Franks. After my brother died of entirely natural causes, I was left to think on how I would conquer the rest of Europe. However, RNG interrupted my schemes. Just like that, I woke up one day, and I was gay. Most unfortunate.
Okay.
However, fortunately for me, another man of immense power was simultaneously struck with homo-lust, the Pope. And so, I seduced the Pope. Pope Stephanus III was an utterly geriatric recluse, but I knew deep down inside his soul, he was just misunderstood. I wrote him a romantic poem. Roses are red, violets are blue. I like penis, and so do you. My words reached him and had their intended effect inside his heart. And soon, I was inside the Pope. The church was oblivious to our forbidden love. They had no idea old Stephanus was aching for more than just back pain. Turns out, it was very advantageous to have the Pope as your lover. Any piece of Catholic land I wanted, he granted. In exchange for French sausage, I received the entire Christian continent. And that's the historically accurate account of how Charlemagne took Europe, by taking the Pope's ass. In another game, I played as the Polish because I enjoy being abused by my enemies and my supposed friends who need more land. How much more land? Well, however much I had. Luckily, the bubonic plague began to ravage Europe. I lost most of my territory from before, so I didn't feel too bad about it. My peasants and their livelihood were now somebody else's problem. Meanwhile, myself and my court went into hiding. The gates were shut, the keys were thrown away, until all of this boils over. However, we had another problem. Food. Or the lack of it. I didn't really think about that. I assumed every kingdom in the Middle Ages just had a Tesco Express around the corner. So we waited. We starved. And then we found an amazing solution. Why not eat the rest of the court? I mean, they're not working anyway. So we did just that. And it was entirely sustainable because I kept repeatedly inviting beautiful women to join my court, to be consumed by the court.
Oh my
I'm not proud of what I did, but I did what I had to.
Oh my god, that's awesome though. I would be proud of that. That's a good idea. In this game, I'm not condoning cannibalism.
Which, it turned out, was completely unnecessary. Apparently, Poland was not affected by the Black Plague, and I sort of just freaked out and ate a lot of innocent people for absolutely no reason.
I think that was kind of at least partially true. Like Poland, like didn't really get much of the Black Death. I don't remember if it was just like Warsaw or if it was like all of it, but I know that like they just like weren't affected as much as the rest of Europe. And I think people did blame the Jews for that because there was a lot of Jews in Poland. Turns out, if you're clean and you wash your hands, you don't always get the plague, apparently. I don't remember, though, if it was all of Poland or not. I do remember learning that Poland was not as affected by as everybody else.
Look, I'm not very good at this game. Luckily, such horrific events are unlikely in modern times because of modern healthcare and sanitation. However, if a plague did have to start somewhere... Would you like to say a few... Kyle, would you like to say a few words about, our mold?
Oh my God.
That's what I want to say.
Yeah, but you know, I'm not the one responsible for you guys leaving organic matter for so long that we have fluffy organic matter.
Well, I was about to get rid of it until you put it on display for the world to see. Now let me...
That would definitely...
At that point, I mean, like, keep it and see what kind of ecosystems you can grow. Like, I mean, at that point, it's science.
Be inside my friend's apartment. For my last game, I decided to break history and play with custom parameters. I designed it so every country was ruled by teenage girls aged 14 and over. It was pure chaos.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Of intense suffering. Also, I later found out I forgot to turn off Great Conquerors, so eventually, most of a known world was overrun by Genghis Khan and her teenage sorority. Luckily, she mostly left me alone. Unfortunately, even if I got a matrilineal marriage, heir succession laws would mean that any child I produce might try and overthrow me. I was screwed, figuratively. But once again, RNG tossed me a bone. Through intense meditation and satanic rituals, I became immortal. On the other hand, I also became an insane lunatic. And one day, in the style of Caligula, I replaced one of my counselors with a horse. I was infatuated, yet I couldn't marry him. Our legal system was not advanced enough to consider human-horse relations. More importantly, the game didn't let me, so I used an exploit. I made my horse a bishop, and in the process of turning my pony into a priest, he automatically filled an entire kingdom with horses, which somehow could be married. So I married and made love to a horse, producing an entire royal line of children that had no concern for the decadent ways of man. They were pure and majestic. Their only concerns were eating carrots and shitting on the streets. At this point, my queen was like a bakery because she was getting bread. There's many stories to tell, but you get the general idea. Every game you ever play will start with honest, sincere intentions, which will inevitably be corrupted and reduced to the most depraved and malicious acts you could ever conceive. But hey, it's fun. Of course, no game like Crusader Kings 2 is complete without multiplayer and friends, which always ends with everyone sleeping with your wife. This happens so often that I sleep with everyone else's wife just in case.
It sounds like Seth has fucked every man's wife at the moment, so...
I'm only fucking 3 men's wives.
That's because there's only 3 men available in this fucking country.
Multiplayer is great. Some of the best shenanigans take place in multiplayer, and luckily, only the host has to have the 3 billion DLC packs necessary to make this game playable. The base game, much like a woman in her mid-40s, is a bit barren. You really need the DLC to add some basic features that should have been in the base game. I think CK2 is a wonderful game, but it's also a game published by Paradox, which is why, even though I love it, I can't recommend it, because the whole damn thing costs around anything from $120 to $200. With that same amount of money, you can satisfy your daily caloric intake for 17 to 28 days on nothing but dollar menu cheeseburgers from McDonald's, one of the most basic and essential components to human life. But if you've...
I desperately want a knife that can cut a burger like that. Sorry. I know that was totally irrelevant to the video at hand, but like, that was a nice knife.
Burgers from McDonald's, one of the most basic and essential components to human life. But if you've got the money to spare, go for it. Or just marry someone rich. Most people do it for a visa. You can do it for video games. Alternatively, there are ways to obtain the DLC. Southeast London, hole in the wall. Take the USB stick and don't look back. If you do, run. If you hesitate, I'm not responsible and I don't know you. Good luck. And if you're not fully satisfied, don't worry. There's an entire modding community out there to fix all your issues. And it's not too difficult to mod the game yourself. In my case, I was getting PTSD from all the death sounds, which play each time a family member bites the dust. Which, well, have a listen for yourself. I think you'd agree these are a little bit unnerving. So I replaced every death sound with a bass-boosted sound clip of Lego Yoda. Now this is much more soothing to the ears. I don't even mind when people die now. It sounds great. Final score. I hope you enjoyed reading this essay as much as I enjoyed writing it. After playing this game for so long, I finally figured out its purpose. The primary goal of Crusader Kings 2, and perhaps life itself, isn't about living a good or bad life. It's about living an interesting life, and inevitably, to die an interesting death. So, you can loudly proclaim on your deathbed, "Thank God, I didn't waste it all on a boring life." Once you're dead and buried, you won't just be a footnote in history. You'll be an interesting footnote in history. Take and do whatever you please in this life, because eventually it ends, and life can take anything and everything away from you, except your stories. So, better make them interesting, because we're all heading towards the same destination. 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I think it's very interesting. However, I'm always filled with regret and a constant state of what ifs. What if I just spent all that money on cheeseburgers? Would I be happier? I don't know. I guess it would depend on whether the burgers were fresh or just the hot, stale garbage they leave for a couple of hours. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
Crush my pot with a rock I must. Maximum pain I must endure. Okay, here we go.
All right. Wow. Okay. So it's not, I knew it wasn't really a real history game. Like, don't think that I ever thought that it was just like a proper history game. I did not realize that you could go so apeshit in it. That is very fun. I think that's enjoyable. That you can just kind of do whatever you want to. I kind of knew that. I kind of was aware. I got again, like, I knew it was sort of like The Sims on steroids. But I do kind of like how much it's like The Sims on steroids. And I do wish that I kind of want to play it, but I want to play it like, again, the real version. So I probably never will, but, I didn't realize that's expensive, yo. But it does seem like, it does seem like fun. That one does seem like a lot of fun to me. Yeah, I don't know. It's like he's always enjoyable. I regret the rule to drink whenever his little avatar comes on screen. I forgot how often that happens. It has been a while since I have seen a Seth video. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun with this. This is gonna be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to it though, so thank you all for joining me on this particular video. If you've got other ideas for the drinking games that we can apply either to these videos or to others, just let me know in the comments because I think that's a lot of fun. I would love to incorporate some of your ideas about when we should drink. Also, I still want you to let me know whenever I drink for being an idiot. I have not seen too many people letting me know when we drink for me being an idiot. So more of that in the comments, if you please. And if there's anything that you would like me to react to, let us know also below. Make sure you like, subscribe, share these videos. And then if you can become a patron, we'd really appreciate that as well. We could not do any of this without you. So, like, you're our superstars. And I will see you in the next video.